happy birthday. It's your birthday, and we're going to talk about your birthday season. I think right now things seem like we can actually like force things to happen or will things into existence, but we have to remember that we're coming out of a season where whatever the mother says goes. You know, we're still, look at, like, you're still at the party getting ready, right? You're still doing this getting ready because you, that gives you, and mainly only you, the ability to be fashionably late. I don't just say fashionably because you are fashionable, to be very general, but I mean more in terms of, like, if we're going to look at the zodiacal story here, then fashionably late means, like, Cancer season's a lot. Cancer season has a lot to put on us, a lot of responsibility to make up for, all these different things to be accountable for, to ourselves, for our future self, for our past self, for all the selves that are in ourselves, which are made up of mostly of water, and they have so much water inside of them. And it's so important. So that's why before this I got myself ready. I took a bath, like I took my time. And before I get even more started into the time aspect of it all, Leo, it's the L, I promise. But maybe a Libra will come up in your reading. Is to look at all the information below, is to check out the extended version of this reading, which will be in the first link below, and it's on Patreon, where you can find all the other ones. I've been meaning to do a Venus reading, a Venus video, so I'm going to during this Venus retrograde and continue from then on, and a new podcast will be out very soon. It deleted, so I have to re-record it. You know how it goes. All right, so let's just get into your reading because I'm very excited. Cancer season was a lot. It was a lot. Not in the sense that I'm not saying cancers are too much or cancers are a lot. It's Cancer season is a lot for everyone, no matter what. There are ups, there are downs. Obviously, we all go through it differently, and you may had things come out of nowhere, just like Cancer. So we'll get into that right now. Haha. So your responsibilities or your actions last month, or whatever was brought to your attention last month, comes from the action or the lack of action or lack of, and that doesn't mean, what do I mean by action? First of all, I mean commitment, your energy. Like, it's not just action, it's your energy. How much energy are you putting into this thing? And so we have the Seven of Pentacles. Are you putting energy into it, or are you just watching it? Right? Is it just out of possessiveness? There are a few signs that are more outwardly possessive. Is it an internal possessiveness? Is something that you don't want to share with someone else because you're afraid of losing a part of yourself or losing value, right? This is about value as well. How are you valued? How you would like to be valued? This is a part of this conversation, right? We have the nodes moving into Aries and Libra. We have Venus retrograde in your sign. We'll get more into that into the next part. But these are all coming up right now because Venus just went into retrograde as the sun moves into your sign. So a lot's happening. For some of you, though, you're also noticing where you get fixated, whether things are going well, whether things are not going well. I did not mean to do that, I promise. I'm going to stop. So, where are you putting this energy? It's just hot, you know? You see this glow? It's not just from just putting stuff on my face. It's not just from the light. The sun is shining. And it's very bright. Look at that, poetic. There's something also about your energy where even in whatever makes you stuck, if it's making you frustrated, there's a sense of drama or dramatic that you can let's put the emphasis on what's happening, letting it out in a way that's even theatrical for you. That could also make things feel a lot lighter in these moments, because you want it to be lighter. It's your time. We get it. Just also take the moments to acknowledge these things a little bit deeper this month as well. Notice how when doing that, it's not just about what you get out of it in terms of healing or even monetarily what comes to you from acknowledging the subconscious. This is about evolving your emotional intelligence, but also acknowledging your independence. So it's like you're attached to it. It's a part of you, or it has been a part of you, but also there's something independent. There's a future you that is constantly evolving and changing, what backward, forward, sideways, it doesn't matter. There's still something going on, still something happening. So this temperance comes in to say that like this fortunate time also has to do with what you're willing to get yourself into, step in the water, right? What are you willing to mix up? So the Two of Cups and the Temperance, holding the Two of Cups, there's this time where it's not only just how you're relating to others in terms of how they want you to relate to them, or how they want you to love them, or how you want them to acknowledge you. It's also about how that relates to how you acknowledge and relate to yourself. Maybe even on a daily or on the regular. This is how you interact with maybe the parts of you that need more attention, and you're willing to dive in a little bit more, which actually allows things to become lighter. So yeah, it feels heavy, but then when you acknowledge things, and this can be put anywhere, the more that you acknowledge it, the more that, even like the more you take accountable for certain things, the less weight. And as a Libra, weight is like what I do, right? There's more weight added to it. And that's what I've discovered. And that's what I would like to share with you. And what this does for not only your nervous system or your memory or the certain pain that this has caused, whether it has to do with people you've known your whole life, people you've been attached to, going out on your own in some kind of way, going from like separating from the family unit or the family tradition, or still being a part of it, but finding your own way, your own money. If you're someone that comes from money, if there's growth to be had, even with someone who comes from money, going out on your own is still a risk, and it's a risk that is heard and received by God, the universe, source, whatever you want to call it, whoever you think helps you receive this energy. Acknowledging this parts of you allows maybe this static or something in your body to remember. You remember something. What does water do? What does light do with water? It helps us decode. I'm really going to get into my nerdy ways now, because this is just the way I think. So, and like so much is going into Virgo as well. So it's just illuminating this part. You may feel like in the past you have handled things a certain way, and it's brought to the forefront right now, saying if you continue to handle things this way within yourself, you're still acknowledging that you are hurt. Yes, being hurt, or you have been being hurt is important to acknowledge, always. Of course, we never want you to think that you're not heard, that you haven't been hurt, none of that. However, it's important for you to eventually take and move forward with what you've learned from this hurt, what you may have learned from this pain. Excuse me. And so what has caused you to reevaluate or move on is that you may be put in the middle or dragged into things from time to time, and you've realized that this is a waste of the energy that you could be spending with really understanding what role you do take in this. You know, what actually is the role? Do you actually want to continue to play it? Because for you, there's a lot to build upon. And if it's you finally coming to this conclusion that something in the family unit, whether it's a partner or someone in your family just doesn't understand, it's time for you to understand that and maybe move along, which means you could be taking a separate venture. You could be even taking on a different value that brings you even more in terms of the acknowledgement, in terms of how you and what you really need to look into. Because whether or not you do, this Virgo energy is kind of relentless. You can't run away, you can't escape it right now. We're in your season where things are head on. And as a Leo, normally you could be okay with that, all depending on the Leo, but normally even if you're like wrong or on the negative side of things, it doesn't matter. You're still usually willing to confront or take a look at the issue. This one is coming out of nowhere because it's almost like you could come to this point where you know you want more, you know what you're headed towards, all of this good starts to happen, and then yet you're faced with these internal things that were once very external, they were once very much seen, you know. You may not realize, or the people around you may not realize that you were hurting from these things. And now you have the ability to really understand where this patterning comes from and how that relates to your response. Your responses in the past were maybe to fight or put up your defense or have an explanation. And now you're at the point where you're just like, I'm just going to handle this. I'm going to handle my stuff on my own. I'm going to handle this and I'm going to take a look at it. Because what I'm seeing here is that regardless of how I present myself on the outside, I still need to take a look at how I feel on the inside. Because if you're a Leo who receives and has a certain amount of external validation in your life in a constant way, it's something you're used to. It's not something, it's just, you know, it's comfortable. You're used to these things, but then when there's something challenging it, meaning like something from within, challenging that's being presented externally, right? Not just absorbing it, understanding it, but it's like this dance you're in, this conversation you're almost in with Source, with the universe, and it's this wondering of when you're going to let go of something that you maybe can't control, which is what from last month was brought into this month. And if you are around people who find it hard to feel happy for you or celebrate you or feel some type of way about you, I just want to add in that it's okay to walk away and have your own party. It's your party, you can cry if you want to. And I feel like you'd have that support, especially regarding this energy that is happening and surrounding you now. We're going to take a look at Jupiter. Sagittarius is in your life who could be shedding light to you about certain things in your life. So you can also have people in your life before we get to the next part. I do want to say that you can have people in your life who are showing you through their own life. Just by being around them or have been being around them, you're like, oh, I see that in my life. But doesn't mean you have to bring it in even more. It's just noticing it without judgment, the best that you can. Even if the Sag wants to judge, even if the Virgo wants to judge, regardless, you're gonna do your own thing anyway. All right, Leo, it's really about being on your heart's side this month and adjusting to that. You know, even if it is And you could just really also need a solo trip or a solo venture, creatively even. You just need time to yourself for a while, regardless of what that looks like. It's not against anyone. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that you need some time. And it's okay to ask for it and to take it. Because why not? And if you're a Leo who knows that, do it. All right, Leo? We'll see you next month. Oh, and in the next part, which will be in a link below.